Welcome! In this video, you'll learn the 5 main types of English compositions with examples. By the end, you'll be able to use each one in your own writing. Let's begin. The 5 main types are narrative, descriptive, expository, argumentative, and discursive writing. Number 1. Narrative composition. These tell a story. They include the setting, introduction of the main idea or problem, and resolution. Let's look at this image. We can see a happy couple in a maternity room. They are smiling, yet the baby born is ebony black, like polished mahogany. This is a story of love, pain, and forgiveness. Let's listen to their story as it unfolds. The labor ward was chilly, and the sharp scent of antiseptic clung to the air. The room had gone silent. The male nurse, his brow damp despite the cold, handed me the baby with trembling hands. I took the bundle gently, almost on instinct, but as the blanket shifted and the baby's face emerged, a knot tightened in my chest. I felt a sudden blend of immense love, powerful and pure, mixed with a jolt of shock that gripped me like ice. He was beautiful, soft, wriggling, alive, with skin like polished obsidian. His tiny fist was clenched tightly, as if holding onto his place in the world. Yet his face was calm, at peace, untouched by the storm rising in my heart. I stared. The air thickened, time slowed, everything around me blurred, like I was walking underwater. I turned towards Sarah, my wife, lying there, her face pale with exhaustion, her brow damp with effort, her eyes locked onto mine. She was searching for something, fear maybe, forgiveness, understanding. "David," she said softly, "please, listen." I couldn't speak. My heart was beating so loudly it drowned out everything else. "I was 2 months pregnant when we met," she said, her voice trembling. "You found me when I was broken. I didn't know then. I thought it was just heartbreak. And when I realized, I wanted to tell you. But then you held me. You married me. You loved me without asking anything in return." I looked back at the baby in my arms, so small, yet carrying the weight of her past. A past I had never asked about. I had never dug into her pain. I had only wanted to be her peace, her home. Then I looked at her, and I said it, not as a question, but a truth. "He is our son!" The words left my mouth and fell on her like rain after a long drought, soft, full, healing. I looked again at the child. He wasn't what I had expected, but life rarely moves in straight lines. Blood might speak, but love writes the story. The story has a setting, climax, and resolution. Second is descriptive composition. It paints a picture using the 5 senses: what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Let's look at these images and fill the sensory map. We can see the 5 senses. Let's now put them in a composition. Flames and flavors. They say the kitchen is a battlefield, and today I was one of the soldiers. The room pulsed with heat, the hum of ovens blending with the sharp clang of spoons against stainless steel. 8 of us stood at our polished workstations, clad in white coats and nerves. My fingers twitched as I tied my apron tighter. A large timer blinked 00 minutes 45 o'clocks and Lavens in red above the judge's table. Beside it stood the supervisor, a serious-looking, dark-skinned man in a crisp, dark blue suit. His eyes swept the room like a hawk's, unreadable and utterly still amid the commotion. The scent hit me first: herbs, garlic, something spicy and seared from the far end of the hall. My stomach flipped with a mix of hunger and adrenaline. 3, 2, 1, cook! I sprang into action. The olive oil hissed the moment it kissed the hot pan. I tossed in diced onions, and they sizzled like fireworks on New Year's Eve. My knife danced through bell peppers, red, orange, and yellow, each slice crisp and satisfying, like the sound of pages turning in a quiet room. I worked quickly, but I felt everything: the smoothness of the tomato skin under my palm, the bite of raw chili when I carelessly licked my thumb, the cool metal of my tongs, the slight resistance of meat as I pressed it onto the grill. Around me, chaos bloomed. Blenders roared, spoons clattered, someone cursed as a pot boiled over. I kept my eyes down, steady. My station smelled of cumin and lime, a sharpness that made my nostrils flare. A good sign. I poured coconut milk into the pan and watched it swirl, pale and silky, wrapping the ingredients in a fragrant cloud. A few drops splashed onto my wrist, hot but bearable. Time ticked. My dish was nearly ready. Pan-seared chicken with smoky paprika glaze, nestled beside saffron rice and mango slaw. It wasn't fancy, it was bold. I dipped a spoon into the sauce and tasted it. Sweet, then heat. A slow burn at the back of my throat. Perfect. The rice was fluffy, each grain separate and humming with cardamom. The mango slaw crunched with every bite, bright, cool, and citrusy. I adjusted a sprinkle of salt, a touch more lime. My hands moved on their own now, guided by instinct more than thought. 10 minutes left, the announcer called. The room was now thick with the perfume of ambition. Butter, basil, burnt sugar. Sweat beaded down my back, my forehead. My hands trembled slightly as I wiped the plate's rim and positioned a mint leaf with tweezers. When the buzzer finally sounded, the room exhaled. A few people cheered softly. Others just dropped their shoulders, breathless. I stepped back from my station and looked at my creation. It wasn't just food. It was me, on a plate. This is a descriptive story that details a tension-packed cooking competition. The narrator tells us the story from his perspective. Third is expository composition. It explains something clearly, like how a machine works, why exercise is important, or why each person should learn cooking skills. The points are explained logically and factually, using clear points, examples, and a neutral tone. Let us look at the following flowchart on advantages of online learning. Let us now listen to an expository composition on advantages of online learning. The advantages of online learning. The classroom has evolved beyond bricks and mortar into a digital space filled with endless opportunity. Online learning, once an alternative, has become a vital tool for modern education, offering flexibility, accessibility, affordability, and variety. One of its greatest strengths of online learning is flexibility. Traditional education locks students into rigid schedules, but online platforms allow learning anytime, anywhere. Whether it's a working professional or a parent, anyone can access education at their convenience. A 2022 World Economic Forum report found that 70% of online learners valued this freedom most. Online learning also enhances accessibility. A student in a remote village can now attend a course from a top global university without ever leaving home. According to UNESCO 2023, global access to higher education increased by 13% due to online programs, breaking down barriers once imposed by distance or infrastructure. Another clear advantage is cost-effectiveness. Traditional education is expensive, but online platforms like Coursera and edX offer high-quality courses at a fraction of the cost, often under $100. This opens doors for learners who might otherwise be priced out of education. Finally, online learning offers a broad range of subjects, from coding to culinary arts. Students can pursue personal interests or career goals without being limited by what a single school offers. In sum, online learning reshapes education into a flexible, affordable, and inclusive experience. As technology advances, this model will continue to grow, empowering learners across the globe. Fourth is the discursive composition. These are compositions that discuss both sides of a topic fairly, without forcing an opinion. Examples: the advantages and disadvantages of school uniforms. Should climate change education be made compulsory in the curriculum? Should society enforce gender roles? Let's listen to a sample essay on advantages and disadvantages of enforcing gender roles in the society. Are traditional gender roles still relevant in modern society? Gender roles, socially constructed expectations about how males and females should behave, have shaped societies for centuries. Traditionally, men were seen as providers and protectors, while women were expected to nurture and manage the home. However, in today's modern world, where gender equality and personal freedom are highly valued, many question whether these traditional roles are still relevant or even necessary. The issue continues to spark debate across cultures and generations. On one hand, some argue that traditional gender roles offer structure and cultural identity. In many communities, these roles are deeply rooted in history, religion, and family values. They can create a sense of purpose and stability. For example, some believe that encouraging men to be providers supports responsibility, while valuing women as caregivers emphasizes compassion and emotional intelligence. Additionally, certain biological and psychological differences between the sexes are sometimes used to justify these roles. Some studies suggest that men and women may differ in their approach to problem-solving or communication, and these differences, while not absolute, might naturally influence social roles. However, critics of traditional gender roles argue that they are outdated and limiting. In a changing world, clinging to fixed roles can prevent people from pursuing their true interests and talents. Many women now lead businesses and governments, while many men take active roles in parenting and caregiving. When people are judged based on gender rather than ability or character, opportunities can be unfairly restricted. Furthermore, modern society increasingly values individual identity over roles assigned by tradition. Every person is unique, with different strengths, dreams, and contributions to make. Recognizing and respecting individual identity allows people to thrive in ways that traditional roles may not always permit. Schools, workplaces, and media are gradually embracing this idea by promoting fairness and choice. In conclusion, while traditional gender roles may still hold cultural or personal significance for some, they are no longer universally necessary or fair. Society benefits most when people are allowed to be themselves, not limited by expectations tied to their gender. Moving forward, encouraging personal identity, freedom, and equality may offer a more inclusive path for everyone. Lastly, we have the argumentative compositions. These bring out the two sides of a topic with the aim of persuading the reader to agree with the writer's opinion. Sample topics include: is online learning as effective as traditional learning? Should plastics be completely banned worldwide? And has technology made people less social? Let us now listen to a sample essay on: should students be allowed to choose the subjects they study? Should students be allowed to choose the subjects they study? Education is often described as the key to a successful future, but the question remains: who should hold that key, students or the system? In many traditional school settings, students are required to follow a fixed curriculum, regardless of their interests or strengths. However, there is growing support for the idea that students should be allowed to choose the subjects they study. While some argue that this could lead to gaps in knowledge, the benefits of personalized, interest-driven learning outweigh the concerns. One strong argument in favor of allowing subject choice is that it encourages motivation and engagement. When students study topics they are genuinely interested in, they are more likely to participate actively and perform better. Research published by the American Psychological Association shows that students who feel in control of their learning are more motivated and achieve higher academic outcomes. Allowing students to follow their passions can lead to deeper learning and long-term success. Furthermore, choosing subjects can help students develop skills aligned with their future careers. Not every student will become a scientist or mathematician. Some may excel in art, languages, business, or vocational fields. Giving students the freedom to explore their strengths early on can lead to more focused and relevant career paths later in life. Forcing all students into a one-size-fits-all curriculum may result in wasted potential and frustration. Opponents argue that a balanced curriculum is necessary to create well-rounded individuals. They believe that students may avoid challenging subjects like mathematics or science, leading to serious knowledge gaps. Additionally, younger students may not yet have the maturity to make such decisions wisely. Therefore, some level of structure is important to ensure that all learners are exposed to a range of disciplines. While this concern is valid, a compromise approach can be effective. Schools can maintain core compulsory subjects such as literacy, numeracy, and science, while still offering students a choice in electives. This way, students receive a foundational education while also enjoying the benefits of autonomy and exploration. In conclusion, allowing students to choose the subjects they study can foster greater engagement, creativity, and career readiness. While a basic core of subjects may still be necessary, giving learners some control over their education helps them take ownership of their future. Education should not only prepare students for exams, but also for life. We have learned about the 5 types of compositions. Which type do you like most? Write and share.
That is the end of today's lesson.